3, 2, 1.
You ready?
Listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Thank you so much for listening to Real Pineapple tonight. Yay! This is Hunter.
You do that one for yourself. I think.
I do.
That one's for Hunter.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. I'm here with Scott, whose ears are probably bleeding. Scott, how are you, sir?
Good. I'm not bleeding. I just was a little shocked. It really shocked me into this podcast, which I needed, honestly.
And I'll be honest, I do that primarily because I know it always catches Colin off guard, and he just goes, "God damn it, Hunter." Colin, how are you?
God damn it, Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got what I wanted.
You said.
That's all I'm gonna say.
So we are here to talk about. So if you're a nerd, which I hope you are, especially if you're listening to this podcast, Comic-Con was last weekend, and there's a lot of trailers we're gonna get to over the next week. There's a new Godzilla movie that looks fucking awesome. We've got a Shazam trailer that looks good. Aquaman actually looks pretty good. So we've got a lot of trailers to discuss. But the one I want to talk about is currently for me what is my second most anticipated film of next year, right behind Avengers, and that's Glass. So I believe it was me and Colin, we reviewed Split, and we both enjoyed Split a lot. I think for those people who for some reason didn't follow James McAvoy's career, which you should be, he's got It Chapter 2 coming up next year. I'm like, good for you, man. Like, James McAvoy's a hell of an actor, and he is a great Charles Xavier, just as a nerd part for me. Him playing the main character's name was Kevin, right, in Split, I want to say?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Kevin.
And yeah, and he's got 24 personalities, including the Beast, who you meet at the end of the movie. And James McAvoy, man, the way he's just able to seamlessly jump between each personality, I just went, I went, wow, this guy's an incredible fucking actor.
I'm a big fan of Hedwig.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. But this movie, and I think we need to forget, or can't forget, people were saying M. Night, I think it was Time Magazine, it was maybe Entertainment Weekly, I'm sure Time Magazine's like you're confused with Entertainment Weekly, but it was one of those big publications that said that M. Night, after Sixth Sense, was the next Spielberg. People were touting M. Night as next Spielberg. And then he did Unbreakable, which I still think is M. Night's best film. And I've been saying that for years, that it's his best movie. And then he did, what was after?
Signs?
He did Signs, which I liked but didn't love. And then he did The Village, and people went,
The Village is bad.
Like, that wasn't good. And then he did Lady in the Water, which
Lady in the Water is bad.
Which, as much as I love Paul Giamatti, even he can save that.
And then, dude, The Happening.
The Happening is one of the worst movies that has ever been made. Mark Wahlberg running from fucking pollen. I was like, Jesus Christ, this movie blows. Like, have you ever seen The Happening, Scott?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, you know, that's something we should review, because that's a movie to just rip into. God, The Happening is so bad. And then he did produce that movie Devil, which took place on the elevator, which was bad. And then he did The Last Airbender movie, which, as someone who's a fan of the show, and like kind of a casual fan of the show, I had people who are obsessed with it, like I am about Marvel, who wanted M. Night's head on a stick after they saw that fucking movie. So M. Night had a really rough go of it. But then he did The Visit, and I went, you know what? That was a fun little kind of horror movie. And then he did Split, and it was like, whoa, this is a really good fucking movie. But then at the very end of the movie, you see David Duke, fucking Bruce Willis's character from Unbreakable, and you go, oh my god, he made a fucking villain origin story and set up an Unbreakable and Split sequel. Holy shit. And so that brings us to Glass. And gentlemen, I'm just going to tell you right now, this comes out in January, which kind of notoriously is known as a kind of a dumping ground for movies to just kind of go, studios just go, we know this is going to suck and make no money, so hopefully, it makes something here.
It's when Split happened, though.
Yeah, it did, and I love Split. I think strategically from the studio perspective, it's pretty brilliant, because I don't think there will be shit that's good out in January outside of this movie. I'm more excited for this than I am for Captain Marvel. No disrespect to my future ex-wife Brie Larson, but
That's interesting.
Thank you. But this movie, man, Samuel L. Jackson is Mr. Glass. I think people forget how menacing that character is. And I just watched Unbreakable a week ago, and when you find out what Mr. Glass did just setting up all those terrorist acts, it's a oh my fucking god, really. And it's such a cool superhero origin story and a villain origin story. Before this whole comic book boom we had, Unbreakable really stood out as a comic book movie, and it's still one of my favorite films in the last 20 years. I fucking love that movie, and it still holds up. Colin, kind of your thoughts. I think this is the first time you've seen the trailer, right?
This is the first time I saw the trailer. I'm a big fan of Unbreakable. I had that DVD like when it first came out. I've watched that movie several times. I'm a big fan of it. I love Samuel L. Jackson portraying Mr. Glass.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I really love Split too. The thing that I kind of forgot in all of this that you just brought up, that like I was listening to when you were talking about the movie, that like kind of like intrigued me, was when you were saying that all of the kind of like horrible things that Mr. Glass did to try and find the opposite version of him.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, because
that's how he found Bruce Willis, was like in the train crash, but he had done more than that, right?
Yeah, he'd done multiple bombings, and like the end of the movie is it's a gut punch, because you go, oh my god, this guy's fucking insane, but he's right, because he technically found him, but it cost Bruce Willis drops the line, all those people, and what did you do? And you just go, oh my god, and your heart just sinks. And that train crash is still fucking scary, man. I mean, it is a brutal, and I'll be honest with you, I freak out whenever I fly. Like, I really do. So when it's like, oh, he's at an airport, oh, the plane crashed, it's like, oh, that cool. Like that doesn't scare me at all. But Samuel L. Jackson, man, I love the line he drops at the end of Unbreakable. When he goes, you know who you can tell who the villain's gonna be. He's the exact opposite of the hero, and a lot of times they're friends like you and me. I mean, and I think about, my mind goes to Peter Parker and Norman Osborn, or Xavier, Magneto, and it's true. A lot of times the villains are just the mirror of the hero, and are oftentimes close. And I still think that's one of, like, I know Pulp Fiction, obviously. I think this is Samuel Jackson's probably his second best performance outside of Pulp Fiction is Unbreakable. And he looks menacing here, man. I'm so ready for this. Scott, I think you saw Split, right?
I did, yeah. I'm actually a lot higher on M. Night than a lot of people are. I feel like I liked. I didn't mind The Village. I really liked Signs, and obviously Unbreakable and The Sixth Sense. Lady in the Water wasn't good. I didn't hate didn't hate Happening.
Really?
I haven't seen a lot of...
Scott, come on, man. Really? You didn't hate The Happening?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So I don't really have this like big... I feel like people just have this grudge against him for whatever reason, maybe because he was hyped up a lot, but I am extremely excited for this movie, especially because Unbreakable was so awesome. Nice. And then to see like James McAvoy get in the mix, who just killed it in Split. with the multiple personalities. I think it's going to be awesome. I love psychological thrillers, and ones with like proven actors and characters already in this plot line I think it's going to be super exciting. I mean, I'm
do we know what the plot's going to be?
No. So the thing is, and this is something I like about M. Night in general, is that he holds a lot of cards to the chest. But just looking at the trailer, this is kind of what I gathered. So it looks like David Duke has kind of he's been continuing to be, essentially a superhero, a protector as a Sarah Paulson. And Sarah Paulson, I don't watch a lot of it, but I've seen a couple seasons of American Horror Story. She's a fuck of an actress, man. She really is. And seeing her in this, I'm just going to call it now, I think she's powered in some way. The way she's talking to him, I think she has some sort of ability. Just throwing that out there now, so there's a record. But
just want to get that on the record.
Yeah, just I got a feeling, man.
Call back for later.
Yeah, exactly. I told you.
but honestly, I ask about the plot because, like, I think it's cool to hear from a fan, like Scott, like just to hear you say, like, dude, like you're excited for it. You really haven't ever hated on M. Night Shyamalan when like a lot of the mainstream has. Like, that's cool. Like it kind of like gives me more like excitement because I did like Split. I thought Split was a very good movie.
Yeah, and it seems like
when you're like, go
no,
ahead.
I just mean like it seems like he's going to be a main character in this as well, like a huge role. It's like if he was able to do that in that movie and bring that into this with, the guy with Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson, seems like a slam dunk. But you never know. I'm not saying like M. Night is my favorite director, but I feel like I've enjoyed a lot more of his movies.
You feel like he's gotten a bad rap?
I think so, personally. I think he's highly scrutinized, like in all of his movies.
I think like I definitely thought he was like on a downward spiral after maybe Signs. I would say
I thought he was done. I'll be straight up. I thought
because I actually like Signs. I will say I like Signs. But, like, after Signs, I thought, like, maybe he wasn't, It's surprising to see him kind of bounce back with a movie like Split, where I was like, oh, man, I legitimately like this. And then, probably someone smarter than himself was like, we should, like, make this bigger than it is. Mm-hmm. And we should have this be included in some kind of universe that Mr. Glass and Bruce Willis from Unbreakable is a part of. And I think that was smart. And I think this is, I think it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, it's that sort of Avengers type feel when it's like, oh, I love these characters separately, but seeing them together on screen
Scott, I could kiss you right now if that analogy you just dropped.
You can imagine what they would be like together. So, I think it's gonna be a great movie personally, but we've been deceived before.
Yeah, so here's the thing I will say: seeing them all in the same room together just gave me chills. Just as a nerd, because here. So me and Colin, we grew up on the Central Coast, and that was one of those movies I felt like I was on an island on, because superheroes weren't big back then, and being scrutinized enough for loving comic books anyway. That was just a movie. I remember seeing that with my dad. And I remember we had to oh god,
are you talking about Unbreakable right now?
Unbreakable, yeah. So
I always liked Unbreakable, so I hope you can acknowledge that.
Oh, no, I acknowledge you liking it, but I remember telling people at school, like, you should go see it. They're like, whatever, comic book shit. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I remember me and my dad saw that at the Palm in San Luis Obispo, California. I don't know if the theater's still there, but that was one of those movies that just as a kid blew my mind and went, what's good? What's bad? Like, how do we discover what side of the spectrum we're on? And very similar to The Sixth Sense, because David Duke mentions that in order to kind of have those visions he has with people and what good or bad they're doing. He has to touch him. I went back when we watched it a week ago. He never touches Mr. Glass. He's usually always on the side of him. I went, son of a bitch, you fuck, that's brilliant. And I love the way that in this trailer he just bumps Kevin and sees that he has those girls tied up, and the beast is coming for you. I was like, oh my fucking god, that's creepy. Like this looks amazing to me. I'll be honest, I'm very curious how the dynamic's gonna work, because it looks like Kevin and Mr. Glass are teaming up against David Duke, and as we learn from Unbreakable, his real big his kryptonite is water. And it looks like him and the Beast go out of a window heading to the fucking like a lake or ocean. So I'm really curious how they're gonna make all that work. Yeah, Scott, kind of your thoughts.
I think that just the way that it seems like it's described is like you're saying that David Dunn is like continuing his work as a vigilante, and the way the happenstance of him running into James McAvoy's character and seeing all the fucked up shit that he did, like, has to lead to some sort of intense, like, emotionally for Bruce Willis's character to like go apeshit on this guy. I just want to see where they're going with it. Like, I'm just interested to see what the makeup is. I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's necessarily a ton of action, and honestly, I think that's okay because it seems more like a psychological, thriller. But yeah, Colin, what are your thoughts?
I think if it plays out like Split did, kind of bringing the M. Night Shyamalan movie into the new age, it'll be good. I honestly don't have like too much anticipation towards it. Like, I think it's cool that they're bringing these old characters into it, but I'm just a little hesitant to see how it goes, I guess I'd say. So I'm not super excited. I'm more just, if it's good, I'll be excited then. That's kind of where I lie. Honor, what do you think?
So I just have to throw this out because I have to be a pig for a moment. Anna Taylor-Joy, who plays I want to say it was Cassie in the first movie. First off, she's beautiful. I was like, oh my god, you're just stunning. And I love the way that it takes this, and the movie never comes right out and says it, but I remember in Split they said that like her uncle basically like molested her, and that she uses this capture from Kevin to deal with that and become like stronger. And I really appreciate the one little clip you get where it looks like she puts her hand on Kevin's face, just showing that she's not afraid. I just went, oh, that's a very cool just thing to kind of keep her narrative going. Dude, I'm stoked for this. This is one of those movies when I saw, there's always something from Comic-Con where I go, oh my god, what? And when they said, oh, we're doing a trailer for Glass, I went, cool, I will be stalking YouTube all Friday to see that trailer. And I have this trailer downloaded on my phone because I usually watch it a couple times a day. I'm stoked for this shit, man. And
That's awesome.
And I really thought, and let's be honest, Split came from nowhere. Because people were kind of like, hey, M. Night, whatever. And Split came out and it went, oh, okay, maybe he's still got some juice. So I understand Colin's hesitation. Trust me, even saying this is my number 2 favorite, most anticipated film of next year does give me some anxiety. I'll be the first to admit, because he could fuck it up. It's very possible. But I do have faith in M. Night. I think he's got his groove back like Stella. And I think that
Nailed it.
Thank you. And I know, right? So smooth, God. But I really think though that he's hopefully learned from the missteps he's had. And I think he's ready to close out this trilogy. It's crazy that this is a comic book universe I didn't know I wanted, but that I really want now. So
Yeah. He kind of invented it, right?
he really did. I mean, unintentionally, he invented it, and it'll be cool to see Samuel L. Jackson in the movie where he's not wearing an eye patch. So
Probably nice for him too.
Yeah, exactly.
Or talking shit to Ryan Reynolds in a hitman bodyguard situation.
Yeah. So either of those situations, but. Here's to hoping this is good. This comes out in January, so I hope this gets enough play that people are actually going out and supporting it. I mean, if it's good, obviously, I don't support shit. That's why we get Transformers movies every year. But
God damn it!
I mean, technically, we do support it because we watch the worst movies in the world.
But then we tell people not to watch it. So
sure, yeah, I guess.
Hopefully, the net goal is that less people see it because of us.
It's more of like it's like an Amber Alert of sorts. Like it's a public it's a public advisory. Watch out for this.
Watch out, bro.
Eyes peeled.
Amber Alert.
Well done. But guys, have you seen a trailer for Glass? Let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can follow us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. You can follow us on iTunes, Google Play Music, and SoundCloud at The Real Pineapple. Go ahead and give us a 5-star. Let us know what you think of the show. You can follow Colin on Twitter at
The Real O'Neill.
You can follow Colin on Twitter at Jesus Christ at Scott on Twitter. Shut up.
The Real O'Neill.
Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome, Scott.
You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nimrin the First. And you can follow yours truly on Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll have a review up for Christopher Robin. That was my best English accent. And we'll have a review. Nailed that shit.
I think that was just a whisper.
I said British accent, Scott. Come on. And we'll have a review up for The Spy Who Dumped Me as well. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.